Does this sound like you? You get a burst of energy. Maybe it's driven by excitement, maybe it's driven by anxiety, but you have something new to do and you rush into it with full force and you get it done and you really keep going. But then you crash and you're suddenly tired and you're exhausted, but the work isn't done. And now you've got to slog through and force yourself. And now you're feeling even more anxious about it because it's still not done. And yet you've burning the candle at both ends. All you want to do is curl up into a ball and distract yourself or fall asleep. And yet somehow you get through it and the worst is over. And you have a moment of respite. And then something new comes and you are full of energy, you're full of anxiety, you're full of excitement perhaps, and you rush into it again. And then the cycle goes on and on. And if you do this long enough, you get burnout. Why does this burnout cycle happen? How can you escape it? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you tiny little steps that you can do every day to avoid falling into this trap or to get yourself out of it if you're really stuck in it. Let's start with why this happens in the first place. Normally, anxiety driven burnout happens because we put pressure on ourselves. We put pressure on ourselves to perform, to be perfect, to be who we think the world needs us to be to avoid bad things happening, which is really to avoid us feeling shame. And what all of these shameful feelings, which lead to very overactive thoughts, lead us to do is to overwork. We overdo whatever we're doing, and then that exhausts us. And normally we can't do it all in one go, so then we have to force ourselves through it and we get even more tired, and you know how that ends. So the trick to overcoming this is twofold. You need to understand where the anxiety comes from in the first place, and you need to put some really solid, disciplined boundaries around yourself to avoid falling into the trap whilst you're going through life. This video is going to focus on that second part. If you'd like to look into some of the underlying anxiety causes, then I have other videos on that on my channel. Do check them out. So the good thing about addressing the burnout cycle is that you don't have to do anything big. In fact, fight the urge to do anything big. Unless you are right at the end and you're totally collapsed, in which case you may well need a giant piece of time off. If you're going into the cycle right now and you can feel it happening, but you're not quite at the end of your tether, then this is your chance to actually start small. You burn out when you do things that are too big. You can recognize this pattern in your behavior. And trying to fix your burnout by working really hard to fix your burnout is not going to work. This is not something you can force your way through. You burn out because you don't give your body and your mind and your feelings enough time to catch up with you. And that's probably what's driving a lot more of your anxiety because you feel anxious, so you work hard, and then you get tired because you work too hard, and so you feel even more anxious because you haven't got the usual mental capacities that you would like, and the cycle continues. It's a bit like being in a car. You're driving along. Imagine you're in a car and you've got your body in a car, your mind in a car, your feelings in a car. And what happens is you race ahead until you can't actually see your body, mind, and your feelings anymore. You don't even know they're there. You're so busy doing, you just feel good, you're in it. But then suddenly you get tired and that stops and you stop. And what happens is your body, feelings, and mind and the other cars all catch up to you and they slam into you all at once. And that's why you feel so exhausted because you haven't given them enough time to catch up to you gradually. So, if you want to deal with this, again, the underlying cause of anxiety aside, you have to deal with this on the day to day level. You need to create space to be yourself, to feel your feelings, to think your thoughts, to move your body and get all of those feelings out. So, here are some really easy ways you can do that because this is actually really easy. And if you are the sort of person who likes to do stuff and to get things done, this is going to be a breeze for you. You just have to get used to doing it slowly and in small amounts. Some really easy things you can do. When you're at work, take little breaks. Go get a cup of tea. Go and stretch. Go to the bathroom and just move your body a little bit. Just make space to feel how you're feeling so you don't sit there and get all cramped up. Go for a walk. After lunch is usually a good time. And on that walk, don't take anything with you, don't listen to anything. Just be with yourself, even for just like 5 or 10 minutes. Walk around the block once. Just think the thoughts that you need to be thinking. And if you can really stomach it, and you probably won't be able to, I can't do this. I really don't like doing this, but do nothing. Just do nothing. Sit there and do nothing for 2 minutes. It's really hard, but it will do you wonders. And of course, give yourself transition time between things so you're not having to constantly rush. Because at least if your schedule isn't rushed, you're not going to be rushed either, and you're going to be able to make yourself have time for these. In fact, that transition time can be when you do these things. And underpinning this is, of course, eating well, drinking well, exercising. Try not to listen to like a podcast or something when you're exercising. Listen to music or something that doesn't make you get stuck in your brain. So you can be more in your body and in your feelings rather than thinking about whatever's going on in the world. And one of my favorite things, journal before bed, pray before bed. Just do something before bed that lets you reflect upon your day, reflect on how you're feeling, what's going on with you, and just gives you that transition time to let go before you drift off into sleep. And if you find that all of your anxiety hits you just before bed, then that is a real sign that you have not managed to do this throughout the day. But it's not over because you can still do the prayer journaling exercise that I shared in my recent video. See that here. And that will help you let go of your day so you can actually fall asleep. And finally, I want to end by addressing the issue of burnout cycles. We're always in a cycle. The core issues that we have don't really go away. In fact, we cycle around them in different ways. We might spend some time cycling with this one, and then we go over here and we cycle with this one, but they don't really go away. We just cycle them differently, deeper, in more, hopefully, conscious ways as we do it each time. So don't worry if you find that you're stuck in this burnout pattern and that you're going to be stuck in it for a while, because that's okay. And it's not something you need to beat yourself up about or feel anxious about. The fact that you can notice it and that you can start implementing any of these small actions is an enormous step. Honestly, it makes all the difference because it starts retraining how you work as a whole human being to take better care of yourself. And when you take better care of yourself, you won't burn out and you will feel less anxious. So to summarize, burnout happens when we allow our anxiety to drive us into too much action, into overexerting ourselves. The long-term solution to this is to address the shame that is underlying our anxiety. But on a day-to-day level, what we can do right now is make more space for ourselves. Make more space for our mind by sitting and doing nothing for a minute and minimizing distractions. Make more space for our body by getting up and moving or doing a little bit of stretching or going for a walk. And making more space for our feelings by creating emptiness for just whatever to come up, and then a safe space for us to express it, maybe in a journal, maybe in our bedroom, screaming into a pillow, whatever works. Because when we allow space for all these core parts of ourselves, we can process them and they won't slam into us like a car that's been chasing us at 100 miles an hour and knock us out. They will drive along with us on this journey because they're always going to be there and we're always going to have to look after them because they are us. And we're always going to be in this cycle together. And that is totally okay. And the most important thing we can do is notice that we're in this cycle and that the way out is to give a little more space to ourselves and to be kind to ourselves. If you've made it this far, then thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.